Hi, I'm Meredith. Welcome to Chill Book Reviews. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my favorite resources for teaching geography to preschool and elementary age kids. This is one of my favorite topics, so I have a lot of resources to share with you today. I'm going to try to go through them fairly rapidly so that you can have a chance to see them all, but it won't take up too much of your time. I'm going to start with some of my favorite books for teaching geography. So my number one resource for teaching geography is this book, Maps, by Alexandra and Daniel Molinsky. This book has illustrated maps featuring different countries of the world. It doesn't have all the countries, but it has a selection of a few countries from each continent. And the maps show important landmarks, geographical features, animals that live there, cultural facts, and then each one also has the country flag and a little information about it. There's Mongolia. Let's see. Ghana. I think this is a beautiful book. My kids are constantly picking this one up and flipping through it, and I really like to look through it too. It's a great jumping off point for learning about a country because you can look through the individual map for what country you're interested in, and that can give you all sorts of ideas of other things you want to research about that country, either by looking for other books or by looking on YouTube. So I definitely, if you were only going to buy one book on geography from this video, this would be the one I would recommend. I love this one. Another resource that I really like for teaching kids about geography is this one, DK Publishing's Children Just Like Me, a new celebration of children around the world. This one shows individual profiles of individual children from around the world. It's divided by continent, and each continent, it features a few countries and a child who lives in that country. Each profile tells a little bit about the child, what their interests are, what their family looks like, what their favorite foods are, and some favorite hobbies maybe. It's divided by continent. One thing that I really like about this one is it shows children how much they might have in common with another child who lives in a very different part of the world from them, but it also highlights the unique cultures that different countries have and the way that affects the kid's life based on where they live and what they eat and what their family structure is like. So I can definitely recommend this one. It pairs really well with the Maps one, or if you're doing a specific country study, it would be fun to look up a child from that country and learn a little bit more about an individual kid that lives there. Here's another world atlas that we have. This is the Barefoot Books World Atlas. The illustrations in this one remind me a lot of the first atlas I showed you, the Maps one. But this one, instead of being divided by country, is divided by region. So this one's showing all of North Asia in one page. There's South Asia. The big difference between these two is this one has a lot more text describing, we have physical features, people and places, climate and weather, land use, natural resources, environment and wildlife for each area. And the writing in this one is pretty strong and engaging. So if you're looking for an atlas like the Maps one, but you want a little bit more text, a little bit more information, this might be a better choice for you. Here's another one I definitely recommend. This one is called Here and There. It's by Usborne Publishing. This one, instead of being divided by continent or geographical area, it's divided by topic and shows how that topic is relevant in different countries. Here's traveling to school. So it's talking about traveling to school in China, how it was like in France, Venezuela, the United States, Zambia, Japan. Another topic, New Year's in China, Colombia, Thailand, United States. It has topics like exercising, doing chores, nature. It's a really fun book. The illustrations are fun. Here's festivals of the world. It has a nice balance between pictures and text, so good for younger readers too. If you're looking for something more interactive, my son really liked this one, the Usborne Map Mazes book. This one has mazes in the form of maps. Here's a map maze of India, a subway map maze, American road trip map maze. This one's a lot of fun. Some of the mazes feel more educational than others, but for the most part I feel like they're a really good way for kids to interact with maps and practice map reading, and also a lot of fun. Another great one for teaching map concepts is this one, Me on the Map by Joan Sweeney. Shows, like she says, this is me in my room, this is a map of my room, this is me on the map of my room. This is my house, this is my street, this is a map of my street. And so she continues to go out to town, state, country, earth, and discusses maps in general, and then she goes back in and shows how you would find your house, your room on the map. Me on the Map. If you're interested in learning American geography in particular, there is this one, the Scrambled States of America. This is a storybook about if the states all decided to change places, what things would be like. It's a very scrambled States of America. It lets you, kids get to know a little bit about the characters of each state and where they are. Here we have Kansas out, who switched places with Hawaii, all out there alone. This is book, you can see it's pretty well worn. I have read this aloud many times. My kids like this one a lot. There's also a board game that goes with this. We haven't tried it yet, but if you try this book and you like it, you might want to check out the board game as well. The last book I want to share with you is this one, Flags of the World. In the last year, my son got really into flags, I think mostly after watching the 2018 Winter Olympics. And this is a really beautiful book, I think, and it shows the different flags of the world and tells a little bit about the country and about the flag. My son loves this one because he really likes flags. And it's a fun way to learn about the flags and help you remember them, especially because it describes why the flag looks the way that it does, which for me was mostly very new information. So, Flags of the World. One final book recommendation I would make for teaching geography. My kids all really like, there's this new Boxcar children's series called The Great Adventures, and it's a series of 5 books. And in these books, the Boxcar children travel around the world. They go to, I think, Egypt and China and Thailand and Australia and Peru. And for each of the places that they go to, your kids will learn a little bit about that country, but in a really fun and engaging way. And my oldest son has listened to that series like 5 times, and my younger 2 really like it too, and I was talking about it and playing it, and I hear them saying things that they know about these countries that they learned really organically and in a fun way just from listening to me read those books and the audiobook versions. So I can recommend those, and I'll put those below in the show notes too. I also want to share some of our favorite game schooling resources for learning geography. Game school is a really important part of our homeschool, and I think is really fun and interesting way to learn new things. The first one I want to tell you about is an online game. It's called Geoguessr, and I'll put the URL and link down below in the show notes. In that one, it's powered through Google Maps, and it just drops you off at any point in the world. Some of them you can play by continents, anywhere in Europe, anywhere in North America, but you can also play famous places, so we'll drop you off, at, say, a famous castle or a famous landmark, and you need to try to guess where you are based on looking, 360 degrees around you. And that one's really a lot of fun and a great way to learn geography. We also have an app that I really like. This one goes with the Barefoot World Atlas I showed you before. And this one you can travel around the globe on your iPad and click on different places, and it will tell you more about it. So, really cool app, and I see my kids using this one a lot. So, it's called the Barefoot Atlas, if you're looking for it in the App Store. If you want to do the Flags of the World thing, we have this Flags of the World tactic game. My oldest son, my 7-year-old, really likes to play this game, and he's learned maybe about 75 flags super well by playing this game. Puzzles are another great way to go for learning geography. We have this one as a Melissa and Doug United States puzzle. I've also seen puzzles like this where they have the shapes of the countries for different continents on Amazon, and I think that especially having the shape is really helpful because you're not just guessing by the puzzle piece and where it fits, but by what the actual shape looks like to help you learn the shapes of the states or country that you're working on. There are also a couple of subscription boxes available that focus on learning geography. One of those is called Little Passports. I haven't tried that one, but the other one is made by the same makers as Kiwi Crates, and it's called the Atlas Crate. We actually just started getting these. This is the first one that we got, and this one was sort of a geography overview, and I think the later ones will be focusing on an individual country, but this one had us build a world globe, create a travel book, and also learn about latitude and longitude lines, and had us play a fun game with a map where you had to find different famous places, 7 highest peaks, sunken shipwrecks, and where different animals live based on latitude and longitude coordinates, which was a really fun way to learn about latitude and longitude. I think another game school way that you could continue with that same concept would be to try geocaching, because geocaching is totally based on latitude and longitude coordinates and map reading. So that would be a really fun way to game school latitude and longitude and map reading as well. All right, I have 2 last points that I would like to make for learning geography. One would be if you're going to do an individual country study, I highly recommend looking for books about that country written by people from that country. Sometimes it takes a little extra digging, a little extra work to find those, but I think it's really valuable to allow your children to hear directly from the people that live in that country, and to hear those voices authentically rather than to hear them only talked about from an outsider's perspective. And that's not to say that you can't do both. There are enough books out there. There is plenty of room to hear both inside and outside voices, but definitely make sure that at least some of the books that you're putting into your country study are written by people from that country. My second big point would be, if you want your kids to learn geography, if you want them to learn about other cultures, one of the best things that you can do is travel. Travel to other countries, travel to other parts of your country, and travel in such a way that you actually have a chance to have authentic and real experiences with the people that live there. And this is more or less possible for some people than others. I know there are budget constraints, there are time constraints, but if it's something that you can prioritize and find a way to have that be part of your kids' lives as they grow up, I think that's a really great way for them to learn geography and about human culture. Another thing you can do is that if you can't travel, you can have friends. If you have friends and family who do travel, you can talk to them about where they've been. My parents travel a lot, and so my kids and I will kind of keep track on the map of where they are when they're traveling and talk about the places that they're seeing, and we get postcards from them, and that can be a fun way to do it too, even if you don't have the budget or time right now to travel as much as you would like. So thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, and you would like to hear more about books, about homeschooling, about teaching, I'd love to have you subscribe. And if I missed anything, if there's any books that you like or didn't like that I talked about, please let me know in the comments below, and I'd love to hear it. Thanks.